It's tomato time at River Cottage, and I'm girding my loins for my big commercial venture of the summer. It's time to find out if the harvest can pay for the means of production. My polytunnel, which cost me just over 300 quid. Only 3 weeks ago the whole enterprise was in serious jeopardy as a vicious blight took hold in the wet August weather. But September sunshine has come to the rescue and pulled my crop back from the brink. So it's time to turn the golden apples, as the Italians call them, into solid silver. There's also going to be a bit of a competitive edge to the proceedings. I'll be selling my toms at the Bridport Farmers Market, where I'll be up against a master of the hard sell, my own polytunnel guru, Michael Michaud. Michael's bet me half of one of my sheep to a stack of his winter veg that he'll take more than me on the day. And he's got 7 polytunnels to my 1. I've only got one shot at this, so I'm stripping the tunnel bare. It all has to go. The heavy cropping Alicantes, the deliciously sweet Sun Golds, and the fleshy Borghese plums. In the name of profit, I've even got to find a use for the green ones. The secret of maximising profits in the food business is to add value. If I tried selling all my tomatoes raw just as they are, I'd probably make a few quid. But by transforming them into a whole range of upmarket deli products, I should be able to seriously hike up my profit margins. The soups, sauces and salsas I have in mind will be mainly based on tomato pulp, and to concentrate the flavour of this, I'm roasting them first with whole garlic bulbs, olive oil, salt and pepper. My hand pulper then removes the seeds and skin, leaving me with a superbly versatile, richly flavoured puree. I still haven't quite worked out what to do with so many green ones, but right now my pièce de résistance needs some attention. 2 hours ago this pan contained the pulp from 8 kilos of tomatoes. It's now reduced to barely 2 litres of sheer delight. I've always been a big fan of tomato ketchup, but for a long time I've thought that all the commercial brands left definite room for improvement. And this is my attempt to beat the big boys. But I'm afraid to say the finer details of the spicing will just have to remain a trade secret. The only problem is my ketchup uses up so many tomatoes that I'm going to have to charge £2.50 a unit. Still, if I get the punters to taste it before they buy it, I might just get away with it. It's one thing getting all my tomato products tasting right, but I've also been thinking very seriously about the marketing. And I'm off to check on the progress of the new brand image for my very own label, the River Cottage Glutton. Luckily for me, West Dorset is full of artistic downshifters, and I'm on my way to tap the talent of erstwhile South London artist Trish Wiley. In return for a few choice cuts of my Dexter steer due for the chop next week, Trish has promised to create me a label that simply screams, "Buy me." Wow.
So there's
These are
tomatoes on a vine, pepper, these tomatoes on a vine with lemons. Okay?
I think they're great. I think they make a really very strong impact. It's quite hard to just, in my mind, scale them down to actual label size and which one will work best.
Well, I've done that already. Okay.
Have you?
Okay.
Aha. So this is basically, we're looking at sort of near enough actual size now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I prefer it when it's picked out, like in this one.
So do I, actually. I think, in fact, this is the one that I think works best.
Funny you should say that, so I think I probably agree.
Yeah.
They really pop out, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's...
You could grab them.
Yeah.
You could take a bite.
Yeah, well, that's because it's a relief cut. There's a rawness about it.
I think it's crude, almost rude, punchy. It's a hard sell. I think I like it.
Good.
With a consensus reached on the image, it's on to the thorny problem of typeface.
There's a big selection here.
That's like kind of Peter and Jane and the Dog Rover type writing.
It is. It's a bit plain.
Bit plonky.
Yeah.
I quite like this one. I like it because it's got a warm, almost sort of Mediterranean feel, and I think it's punchy enough to stand up to the kind of boldness of the picture.
Yeah.
Do you really think they'll be ready by Friday? I mean, Saturday is market day.
Yeah, no, they'll be ready.
Do you want to bring them over?
Yeah,
And I'll give you some supper.
that'd be lovely.
I'm feeling pretty excited about the brand image, so now it's back to the products. What we lose on the roundabout, we gain on the swings. And to make up for the extravagance of the ketchup, I'm bulking out another dish with a barrow load of free apples. Among the various products on my stall, I thought it would be nice to sell something which has got a bit of a shelf life, something people can take home and can hang around in the kitchen for a few months. So I've decided to use some of the heavy cropping tomatoes, the Shirleys and Alicantes, to make a tomato and apple jelly, which is going to be sweet but tart. The kind of thing that might go very nicely with a bit of salty cheddar, or even just on toast for breakfast. For one batch, 6 kilos of toms and 3 kilos of apples are stewed and then sieved. This gives us 5 litres of pulp, to which exactly 1,675 grams of sugar are added. To keep the jelly nice and tart, the grated zest of 2 lemons is added, along with their juice. This mixture is boiled to the setting point, 109 degrees centigrade, and then a handful of basil from the polytunnel is infused into the mixture as it cools. While that's happening, I've got some porcine detective work to do. There'd been some strange goings-on down here at the pig pen. Last night I was woken up in the small hours by some squealings and snortings, what I can only describe as a porcine rumpus. I thought it was probably my 2 remaining spice pigs arguing over a particularly tasty root. But something more sinister seems to be afoot. I can see what looks distinctly like signs of an attempted forced entry into the pen. My hunch is that it's a horny wild boar on the loose. My girls need some protection. There are several boar farms near here and numerous sightings of escapees. With the pigs 6 weeks from slaughter, the last thing I want is an unplanned pregnancy. So I've come up with a patented porcine prophylactic designed to deter nocturnal marauders. If he comes back tonight, he'll be in for a shock. Talking of pork, I'm expecting an old friend round who has a special interest in the product of last year's pigs, my River Cottage dry-cured ham. It was very nearly a year ago that you came and helped me make this.
Has it been a year?
And it's been hanging for 9 or 10 months.
That looks good.
Have a prod.
No bounce means good.
That's good, is it?
Yes. See, if it bounces up, it's not quite dry, but this is, I think, just right.
Let's give it a slice.
Slice it up.
Victor Borg, ham expert and one of Dorset's most notorious bon viveurs, has brought over his industrial slicer to achieve those essential wafer-thin slices. I've got some extremely sweet tomatoes from the greenhouse. I thought the sweetness of the tomatoes might go almost like figs or melon.
True. After you.
No, after you.
Come on.
All right.
What's your pig?
Same
What's your
time.
pig?
There you go.
Okay. Oh, yes. Tomato first or no, after, I imagine?
I think
After.
after. That's pretty good.
Well done.
That's nice. It's got a great flavour.
You must have fed these pigs well, Hugh.
They ate extremely well.
Tiny bit of criticism? Tiny bit?
Please, criticism.
Did you leave it a bit longer in salt?
I think I left it a tiny bit too long.
I remember I said 25 days or 30 maximum.
In the end, we gave it about a month, and it might have been a few days too long. The first taste is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it starts to feel a little bit too salty, but then you pop a tomato and everything's solved. We tried an awful lot of things last year, and they all worked. The salami was fantastic.
Didn't we smoke some in the chimney?
The smoked sausages, the
Those
spicy
I didn't
sausages.
taste somehow. You were very mean. You didn't send me.
Victor and I ham it up long into the night, but eventually he leaves me to my porky vigil, and all that ham starts messing with my mind. With 48 hours to market day, I'm looking for inspiration to expand my product range. My various pumpkins have been swelling in the late summer sun, and these little jackpots are just what I need. One thing I learnt when I last went into business at the farmer's market is that there are hungry people around, and anything that's actually ready to eat can sell really well. So since I've got an enormous glut of green tomatoes, I thought it would be great if I could incorporate them into a recipe that I can sell straight off the stool, ready to munch. What I have in mind is a kind of spicy vegetarian samosa. The chopped green tomatoes are sweated with a finely diced onion. A mixture of cumin, coriander, ginger and chilli are dry fried to intensify their flavour and added to the mix along with a little brown sugar and plenty of salt and pepper. This fragrant mush is then combined with the scooped out flesh of the roasted pumpkins. The green tomatoes have a nice fresh zestiness that takes the spice very well. And the pumpkin is sort of sweet and buttery, quite rich. And the combination of the two is spot on. For easy hand-to-mouth consumption, a wrapping of phyllo pastry is in order. This is brushed with melted butter and filled with a spoonful of the mixture, and a bit of phyllo origami makes a very portable triangular treat. They need just 20 minutes in a hot oven. To use up the remaining green tomatoes, I'm also going to make a punchy fresh salsa by combining the finely chopped tomatoes with onion, parsley and red chilies, the juice of 3 limes, a good slosh of olive oil and plenty of salt and pepper. And that should go with just about anything. I need a break from all this cooking, and I've promised a day's work to an old friend who fishes out of Lyme Regis. And as ever, I'm looking for edible wages. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Hugh.
I'm not late, am I?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
Where are we going to go?
Got some long lines to do, some traps and some wilt pots, and some pots as well.
Going to work me hard?
Yep.
Good.
Definitely.
Good. I'm crewing on the Rhiannon for John Wason, who fishes to supply his wife's whelk stall on the Cobb at Lyme Regis.
You're going to tip the wilts.
Okay.
That's providing we got some.
First up are his homemade and very heavy whelk pots. Wow, fair few whelks in there. Curious things, aren't they?
Still got some in there. You're going to do the bait? Save me doing them, get my hands dirty. Get the bait, see Hugh, and just slice it.
Yeah, where does that go?
Just put it in the pot, just throw it in the pot.
Oh, yes.
An amazing shot. And mind the ropes, Hugh. When you let it go, watch the ropes.
Okay. Now on to John's Mediterranean-style fish traps. He's doing his best to get out. So what do you like about these traps, John?
They're easy to work.
Yeah?
Yeah. And you get a variety of different things in them.
Uh-huh.
And do you know what I use these for in the winter?
What?
Catching pheasants. Hen pheasants.
Really? Look at that fella. That's a nice size.
Mind you don't get your hand. Well,
What a beaut.
couple of beauties, that.
Next comes 3 strings of traditional lobster pots.
Mind this closed, don't get on.
I wouldn't want to get my fingers caught in there.
No. Watch your feet, okay.
Finally, 50 yards of gill net has to be hauled up from the depths by hand
11 and 12 dogs.
and picked over by hand.
You would do that in 2 or 3 minutes while I'm sat in the wheelhouse having a cup of tea.
There must be some knack to this, but I don't seem to have it.
Hold him by the head, clear his head. I like your skipper's job.
I tell you, this is curiously satisfying work.
Since you go when it's freezing cold, man.
When
Blowing
your,
a gale of wind.
when your fingers are numb,
Oh,
By the time I finally get there, we've amassed a barrel and a half of whelks, 12 crabs, 7 lobsters, 3 soles, 1 plaice, and 28 dogfish.
so what's a day's wages, John?
Time to find out what I'm worth.
well, if a fella works hard, he gets all right, but you ain't worked too hard, so, you know, 2 or 3 half a dozen dogfish good enough or no?
Half a dozen dogfish,
Yeah.
you throw in a bucket of whelks, make it 10 dogfish in a bucket of whelks. Or if I was to be paid in lobster, what would I get?
Whoa, this takes a bit of thinking about, don't it?
10 dogfish in a bucket of whelks must be worth 1 small lobster.
1 lobster, no dogfish, no whelks.
Well, there's lobsters and there's lobsters. There's that one, and then there's that one. I have got someone coming to dinner to whom I owe a great debt of gratitude.
Oh well, someone special. That one would feed too, all right.
We'll be all right with that one.
Yes.
Thank you very much, John. Best of luck.
It was a tough haggle, but I got there in the end. A fine fat lobster for me and Trish. The next day, the River Cottage gluttons got teething troubles. One of my principal products, the tomato and basil jelly, has completely failed to gel. If I'm going to salvage the situation, some pretty urgent action is called for. I'm thinking, what if jelly becomes sauce? A generous slosh of white wine vinegar and plenty of finely chopped red chilies, and it's transformed into a hot, sweet and sour basil and tomato oriental dipping sauce. That might require a bit of a hard sell, but at least I'm back in business. Trish is coming round tonight with the finished brand image for the River Cottage glutton. And to mark the occasion and thank her, something pretty special is called for. Well, shellfish doesn't get much more spectacular than the classic lobster thermidor. Into some softened shallots and reduced white wine goes 200 ml of thick bechamel, a dollop of English mustard and a couple of handfuls of grated Gruyere. The lobster has been boiled for just 10 minutes, then it's carefully split and the meat from the tail and claws extracted, roughly chopped and stirred into this unctuous goo. Then it's all piled back into the 2 half shells, which are topped with a bit more Gruyere and finished in a hot oven for 10 minutes just before serving. Do you like shellfish, Trish?
Yeah.
Do you like lobster?
I've never eaten lobster.
You're kidding.
No, I haven't.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This will be your first lobster?
Yeah.
Well, it's a tremendous honour for me to be the one to serve it to you.
Okay, so how do I tackle this then?
Well,
so scoop it out,
in
do you?
theory, you should be able to get in there and it should all come out quite easily.
Right. It's lovely.
Is it all right?
It's gorgeous.
I'm glad you like it.
Like doesn't come into it. It's gorgeous.
So, were you happy working with River Cottage Glutton? Or did you feel, if only he hadn't got such a stupid name, I could do something really nice?
Well, I thought the River Cottage glutton was sort of a bit like, you know that film Tom Jones? Bit bawdy.
Bit bawdy.
Bit bawdy, bit saucy.
Good.
Yeah.
I thought, stick glutton on the end, and it just buoys it up a
hearty.
bit. Makes it more hearty, doesn't it? I'm glad you like that.
I wish we had another one of these. I don't think
Sounds a
there's
bit
any
empty.
flesh in there. Look at that. It's gorgeous.
Having made short work of her lobster, Trish finally shows me the finished labels. That's great. It's really strong.
I think so.
And the typeface is perfect. Really, I really, really like it. I couldn't be more happy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would you do the honours, Trish?
I think it looks good and I love the bottle.
It's a nice bottle, isn't it?
The cork's gorgeous.
But will it shift at $2.50 a throw? Market day turns out to be wet, cold and windy, and since I had several litres of pulp left over, I've made up a batch of warming smoked tomato soup. Along with the ketchup, salsa, dipping sauce and samosas, my launch range is complete. The River Cottage Glutton is open for business. Michael Michaud's got the next stall but one, and our wager is on. He's banking on an impressive spread of various organic chilies and vegetables, and his secret weapon, the bonsai potted chili plant.
I wouldn't ask anyone to buy before they taste it.
No, I'll have it if I'd like to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if you don't like them, you can always get back to us. Did you do that? Yeah, better than you, believe me.
That's what I call laying down the gauntlet.
What can I do for you, madam? Thank you very much. The last one. I think I should have been selling them at a fiver a piece.
My ketchup sold out, but Michael's stooping to industrial espionage in the innocent shape of his daughter Martha.
Trade us for a bowl of soup.
He wants to trade a bowl of soup. Does look rather beautiful. Okay, tell me, is he selling a lot? Have you any idea how much money he's taken so far?
No.
What do you think, Michael?
Absolutely, the worst soup I've ever had in my life.
Breakfast special. Green tomato and pumpkin samosas.
Chili peppers?
Last 10 bottles. Sold 50 already.
240, yeah?
Business is brisk up this end, and by 12:30 I've practically sold out.
Samosas and soup, that's all I've got left. One samosa left. They must be good. You like that?
With the last samosa down the hatch, it's time to settle that bet.
That was 90, that's 110. All right, 130. How did you do?
320. But the weather smiled on me.
Yeah, it did.
What was bad for you was good for me. Because what people wanted to do today was eat.
Yeah. That's all right. That's okay. There's only one problem. Green tomato and pumpkin samosa.
Well, what,
With coriander seed. I mean, come on.
I didn't have anything else in the garden.
What is it? Can I try it?
Yeah,
It's his half-eaten pumpkin and green
but
tomato
actually, to be
samosa.
honest, the fact that it got rained on probably improved it.
It's lovely.
The public has spoken.
You're a poor winner. It's like rubbing salt into that ham, isn't it? It's,
So just 20 pounds of vegetables to be claimed at any point over the winter, when I need them the most.
that's a good point.
My polytunnel is paid off, with enough left over to invest in phase 2.
The fantastic thing about a polytunnel is not only will it transform the English summer into a Mediterranean one, it'll give you spring in the middle of winter. And come December, the River Cottage Glutton is branching out into the exotic salad business.
This could be the start of something big. Today, Bridport Farmers Market. Tomorrow, Dorchester.